Heat lifts off the asphalt like breath from an angry beast. Elias more braces a cardboard box against his chest and steps into the glare. He feels the grit of mesa dust in his teeth, the hot sting of sun on the back of his neck. The moving truck idles, coughing diesel, a patient animal waiting for release. He takes 2 steps toward the tailgate. She is already there. Vivian Clark plants her shoes in the street, palms up like a traffic officer, chin tilted at an angle that says courtroom judge. "You're violating," she says. Not a hello, not a welcome. An edict. The word snaps in the heat. He stops short. The box digs into his collarbone. He smells old books, cardboard, the faint lemon cleaner from the empty house he is leaving. Vivian steps closer, blocking his route to the curb where a single taped box waits beside the recycling bin. Her voice is clipped, satisfied. No moving trucks overnight, no curb clutter. Those are the rules. A neighbor across the street lifts a phone. Another one does too. Elias hears the low hum of recording, the prickle on the back of his neck you get when someone frames you in their lens. "It's 3 in the afternoon," he says. His voice comes out steady, too steady, like he is borrowing calm from a deeper well he had to dig long ago. Vivian smiles with the edges of her mouth, not her eyes. Rules are rules. He feels shame rise like heat, not the shame of guilt, the shame of being made small in public. He shifts the weight of the box and looks past Vivian to the truck that cannot roll forward because she will not move. "I have to clear the driveway," he says. "You'll do it the right way," she says, as if she were the architect of sky and sidewalk. Behind her, someone whispers, "There she goes again," and someone else laughs too loudly, the kind of laugh designed to sting. A car door shuts. A familiar silhouette crosses the shimmer. Elias sees the squared shoulders, the easy, economical stride. Jordan, his son, off duty. Stopping by to help. Vivian turns toward him, eyes narrowing to slits, already forming words that taste like accusation. "Are you impersonating an officer?" she calls out before he even speaks. The phones tilt toward him, hungry. Elias feels the moment tip, like a glass on the edge of a table, seconds from shattering. The street becomes a stage. Vivian plays to the crowd, one hand at her hip, the other slicing the air in righteous geometry. She points at the truck, at the lone box on the curb, at Elias's front door as if she owns the hinges. "You think the rules don't apply to you because you're leaving," she says. "We have standards. This is not a storage yard." Elias swallows the copper taste of insult. He is aware of his shirt sticking to his back, the smell of hot rubber, the faint tremble in his arms from carrying one too many boxes. He pulls a breath through his nose. In, out. The breath only skims the surface of his anger. Jordan stops beside him, body loose, hands visible. "Afternoon," he says. His voice is gentle, the kind of voice you use with frightened dogs and arrogant strangers. "We're just finishing up." Vivian ignores the words and addresses the gallery of porches instead. "Witnesses," she says brightly. "I will need witnesses. He has a truck obstructing the street. And look at that box. We do not leave refuse on the curb before pickup. We do not lower the tone of the neighborhood." A few neighbors avert their eyes, shame creeping up their necks like ivy. Others lean forward, appetite whetted, the small thrill of someone else's trouble. Elias hates that he can feel their attention pass over his skin like a draft under a door. "Ma'am," Jordan says, patient, "please step back from the truck for your safety." "Don't you tell me what safety is," Vivian snaps, stepping closer. She's smaller than both of them, but fills the road with posture. She sniffs at Jordan's plain gray tee. "Who are you to instruct me?" "A neighbor," Jordan says. "A son helping his father move." "You said officer," she pounces. "Didn't you?" He implied it. Impersonating an officer is a crime. She looks to the cameras like an anchor cutting to commercial. "We might be dealing with a criminal." Elias feels the box biting into his fingers. He wants to put it down, wants to put the weight on the ground and stand up straight, but to bend would be to give her the picture she wants. Man bowing under rules. The sun presses harder. Jordan's face stays calm, unreadable. Vivian takes one more step and plants herself between the truck and the driveway as if rooted. "For your safety," Jordan repeats, and Elias hears the edge hidden under the calm. "Please step aside." Vivian smiles, satisfied. She isn't moving, and the phones keep recording. Jordan tilts his head in that small, alert way he has when the ground beneath a conversation changes. He eases a worn leather case from his back pocket, the edges rounded with years of use, the stitching darkened by skin and time. The case does not flash or glint. It breathes quiet authority. He does not open it yet. He lets it sit in his palm the way a carpenter holds a familiar tool. Vivian's gaze skitters away from it. She is too busy narrating to her audience to notice any detail that does not feed her storyline. "I'll call the association right now," she says, thumb flying over her screen. "I'll get the president on live video. We will document this." From inside the truck cab, a little radio chirp leaks from Jordan's phone. Not music, not a ringtone. The efficient syllables of a clipped dispatch test, the kind that only a certain line of work uses. Elias catches the sound and looks at his son. Jordan taps his screen to silence it. No show, no flourish. He stands in the heat, a calm island in a rising tide. On the curb, the lone cardboard box sits like a question mark. Elias notices the black marker words on the side. Den memorabilia. The flap gapes a little. Inside, a brass pin glints, the one from his Union steward days 2 decades ago. The pin is small, unassuming, but it carries a weight inside him. Nights spent mediating fights on factory floors, learning that the quietest authority is the kind you do not need to announce. Vivian keeps talking. The handbook is clear. Trucks cannot block the street. No curbside clutter. I have told him for years. And the door. Remember when he painted the door that awful blue? Standards must be maintained. Elias feels the old ache of that memory. The paintbrush rinsed in the sink, the letter in his mailbox the next day with a photograph and a threat of fines. He doesn't look at the neighbors, he looks at his son's hand holding the leather case. He hears the soft, practiced cadence of Jordan's breathing. "Ma'am," Jordan says and opens the leather case now. No flourish, just a reveal. A polished shield, an identification card with his photo. He does not hold it up to the cameras. He holds it where Vivian can see. She does not look. She is still scrolling. "Sir," Jordan continues, because respect costs him nothing. "For your safety and mine, please give us space to move the vehicle and clear the driveway." Vivian lifts her head, eyes lit with certainty. "Show me proof," she says, voice ringing like a gavel. He is already holding it. Elias feels the space tilt again, the way the sky darkens before thunder you cannot yet hear. Arizona Revised Statutes Section 13-250, Jordan says softly. The numbers land without heat. Impersonation requires a false assertion and an act in furtherance. I have neither. I am off duty, assisting my father. Now please step back to a safe distance. A murmur ripples. It is not dramatic. It is the shift of people doing math in their heads. Vivian's mouth flattens, lines radiating like cracks in dry earth. "Don't quote laws at me," she says. She gestures toward the curb. "That box is refuse. Refuse may not be placed before collection day." Elias sees the opening. "It's not refuse," he says. He keeps his voice gentle. He sets the box down with care on the lawn, not the curb, showing intent. "It's my father's letter from 1978 and a pin. I'll carry it inside right now." He lifts the box again, his hands sure. Vivian falters, only for a blink. Then she recovers and jabs a finger at the truck. But the truck, Jordan nods toward a folded paper in her hand. Is your role in the association enforcement or advisory? He asks. Because detaining people in the roadway is neither, and standing in front of a vehicle is unsafe. I'm asking you one more time. Please move. The neighbors look at each other. Someone sets their phone lower. Elias hears a tiny click as a recording stops, a small win. Barely visible, but there. Vivian's chin rises. I am the rule captain, she says, tasting the title like dessert. I coordinate compliance. People rely on me. And there are procedures for notices and citations, Jordan says, steady as a heartbeat. None of them involve blocking egress with your body. He steps back, giving her space to save face. It is a gift. Elias recognizes it because he used to give that same gift on factory floors. 10 seconds of silence to let pride climb down a ladder. For one suspended breath, the street is quiet. The truck ticks and cools. A dove calls from the power line. Elias can feel the moment loosening, the possibility that this will end with a sigh and paperwork. Then Vivian's phone trills. A video pops open loud. I've got you on our board chat, she announces, loud enough for the cork oak to hear. Everyone's watching. Can I get a witness? Can I get confirmation of fines? He's threatening me. The air tightens again the way it does before a second wave hits. Elias shifts the box in his arms, knuckles whitening. The gift of silence is refused. The next beat is coming. Personal injustice becomes spectacle. Vivian steps closer than close, shoulder almost touching Jordan's chest. Her perfume is sharp, citrus and steel. She tilts her phone toward his face, the lens a tiny black hole hungry for mistakes. Threatening, she repeats into the camera. Aggressive, possible impersonation. Neighbors, you are seeing this. Ma'am, Jordan says, calm, always calm. You need to step back. She does the opposite. She reaches for the cameraman's phone. A teenager from 2 doors down whose eyes are wide with the thrill of live conflict. Vivian's hand clamps over the lens. The boy yelps and pulls. The phone wobbles, black sky, pavement, a sliver of Vivian's jaw. Stop, Jordan says, moving. His hand is open. His stance is textbook. He reaches between them, not grabbing the phone, just placing a firm barrier between a woman's elbow and a boy's startled face. Vivian shoves. It is not hard, but it is sudden, a burst of heat into the space his calm held. Her palm lands on Jordan's shoulder. The phones gasp as one. Elias feels heat flash through him, an old anger muscle flexing on instinct, but Jordan is already performing the next slow, precise motion. "Ma'am, you're under arrest," he announces, voice level. "Obstruction. Resisting instruction during a safety intervention." His words are measured, each one a rung on a ladder he wishes he did not have to climb. He turns her gently, one hand guiding her wrist, the other keeping distance. "Hands behind your back, please." Vivian thrashes, not much, enough to make it messy enough to trigger her chorus. "He's assaulting me," she cries to the phones. "He's not a real officer. Call 911. Call the president. Call everybody." Calls go out. Fingers fly. The association chat erupts. Little confetti of reactions dancing on screens. Someone tags a local group with an appetite for outrage. The video count ticks up in real time. Elias hears sirens bloom in the distance, thin and distant as a dotted line on a map, growing thicker with every breath. Legal entrapment arrives in the form of words fed by adrenaline. "I will sue," Vivian snarls. "You will be ruined." She twists, heels scraping the asphalt, and nearly falls. Jordan eases the pressure, keeps her upright. He speaks without heat. "Please do not resist," he says, "for your own safety." Elias sets the box down on the lawn again, hands free now. He wants to reach for his son. He wants to address the cameras. He wants to rip the entire moment apart and start again, quieter, kinder. The sirens swell, turning the corner of sound, rounding into the block. Red and blue lights skate across the pale stucco walls. 4 beats: humiliation, spectacle, contact, consequence. The street holds its breath for the 5th. The patrol car rolls to a stop with a practiced grace, lights washing over everything, turning sweat into gemstones, fear into color. Doors open. 2 uniforms step out. Their faces are calm, professional, that controlled neutrality born of repetition. Elias feels his heart knock once inside his ribs. Jordan releases pressure, lifts his hands away from Vivian as if stepping back from a fragile sculpture. "Afternoon," the taller officer says, eyes scanning, hands away from his belt. "What's happening here?" Vivian speaks first. Of course she does. "Impersonation," she announces, pointing at Jordan like a prosecutor. "Assault. Violation of homeowners association rules." Everyone saw. He is not a real officer. The shorter officer turns his head toward Jordan. It is a small tilt, recognition blooming like a light behind glass. "Moore," he says. "Jordan Moore." Jordan nods, no smile, no relief, just acknowledgement. "Off duty," he says. "Assisting my father with a move." He gestures toward Vivian, minimal motion, every inch careful. attempted to keep her clear of the truck and the minor she grabbed. She refused repeated safety requests, then shoved me. I announced arrest for obstruction and resistance. No cuffs applied, no further force. The taller officer's chin dips in a nod. He looks at Vivian's hands, free and flustered, at the teenager rubbing his wrist, at the gathering of phones aimed like flowers toward the scene. "Ma'am," he says gently, "I'm going to need to see your ID." "My ID," she sputters. "His ID, he's the one." Jordan opens the leather case. He holds it steady. "Badge, ID card, name." The light catches on the seal in a way even a camera cannot argue with. The silence that follows is not theatrical. It is relief pressed into a shape. The taller officer glances at the card, then at Jordan's face, then at the little radio chirp that escapes Jordan's pocket again, like evidence with a sense of timing. He nods once more to the badge, to the man, to the reality. "Thank you, Officer Moore," he says, using the title in a way that is neither show nor mercy, just fact. He turns to Vivian. "Ma'am, you can record from the sidewalk. You cannot obstruct a driveway or touch another resident's property or person. Based on the information, you will be cited for obstruction and for interfering with a police action. Please step over here." Vivian's mouth opens and closes, a fish at the surface. The gallery's breath comes back in little pieces. Someone whispers, "Oh," like a small prayer. Elias feels his shoulders drop a fraction, a knotted muscle releasing. Jordan says nothing. He watches the paperwork happen, the slow unwinding of a moment that could have gone anywhere darker. He stands with his hands loose, eyes on Vivian but not on her anger, on the fragile place where it is breaking. The citation prints with a soft mechanical sigh. The taller officer explains the court date, the rights, the options for response. Vivian takes the paper like it is a blade. "This is not over," she mutters. Jordan finally speaks, the words even as a level horizon. "It is over for today." And in the echo of that sentence, the power in the street changes hands. The crowd dissolves the way flocks do when a hawk leaves the sky. Conversations sprout and twist off down the sidewalk. Phones drop from record to replay, the algorithm's hungry mouth already opening. The teenager edits his footage without meaning to. It edits itself as he breathes. The clip blinks from one chat to another, then leaps into a platform that thrives on certainty and scandal. Within hours, it blooms. Elias does not watch the numbers. He feels them in the way his phone vibrates on the kitchen counter of an empty house. Messages stream in from neighbors he liked and neighbors he only waved at, from a cousin in Tucson, from an old co-worker who still calls him Stewie for the Steward pin he wore back when he believed rules were tools, not weapons. The association calls an emergency meeting, faces boxed on screens, the president leaning too close to his webcam, the treasurer's cat walking across a keyboard. Vivian appears framed by her living room's perfect pillows, hair smoothed, voice formal. She floats different words now: misunderstanding, miscommunication. The president uses the phrase retraining on de-escalation and review of compliance protocols. Then he says the word lawsuit quietly, as if it might decide not to show up if said softly. A local reporter messages Jordan for comment. He declines. He writes the incident report as if it were abridged, precise and safe. The station runs the story without his voice, and still the clip turns into a conversation bigger than the block. Comment sections pour like summer rain, warm support, cold poison, the usual mixture. But tucked among the storm, there are steady voices. Veterans of associations who hate being weaponized. Neighbors who confess to giving Vivian too much power for too long because it was easier that way. A city council member quotes policy about the limits of private authority on public streets. Elias walks through his house in the softer evening. Rooms that once held arguments about door paint and garbage schedules now hold boxes and echo. He touches the nick on the hallway where Jordan's toy truck once gouged the drywall. He sets a glass on the counter and hears it ring on laminate like a bell. Out on the street, the truck engine ticks as it cools. The courthouse will have its day. The association will have its memos. The video will have its life cycle. But Elias has this moment, this strange quiet after rupture. The sun slants red across the living room. Dust dances. He breathes and tastes freedom in it, the kind that is not a headline but a deep exhale after years of holding your breath. The house is empty in the way only a home can be when it is about to stop being yours. The footprint in the carpet where the couch once slouched. The patch on the wall where a family photo tried to hide a scuff. The air carries the faint, clean smell of lemon and effort. Elias stands in the doorway with the last box, the one with the pin. He holds the pin in his palm. The metal is warm from the day, etched with scratches from union halls and late-night kitchen tables. He remembers what it taught him. The strongest rules are the ones that protect dignity, not the ones that police door colors. Jordan steps into the frame of the front door. He is taller in the empty house, his calm denser. He looks at his father like the world is suddenly simpler. "I'll follow you," he says. "I'll bring the last load." "Thank you," Elias says. The words cover more ground than this room. He looks out across the yard that became a courtroom too many times. The walk of shame to the mailbox for letters with photographs attached. The way he started greeting neighbors with a checklist running in his head instead of a hello. The slow corrosion of kindness that pretended to be standards. He does not hate the place. He just knows it is not his any longer. He turns the key in the lock one last time. The sound is a clean click, a punctuation mark at the end of a long, run-on sentence. On the street, a few neighbors wave. One of them crosses and offers to carry the box. Elias nods, surprised and grateful. The man is new. He has no history of the door color, the garbage day notice, the late-night photos in mailboxes. He just sees a neighbor leaving. Elias hands him the box and in doing so lays down more than cardboard and tape. He steps off the porch lighter by the weight of a house and heavier with something else. The knowledge that rules without respect are just costumes people wear to feel big. At the curb, he opens the truck door. The seat is hot. The engine hums ready. He looks at Jordan, who looks back at him with the same eyes that, hours ago, did not blink in the face of heat and spectacle. Elias nods once. The nod means I saw, I felt. I am done apologizing for how I carry myself in my own life. He pulls away from the curb. The house slips into the rear view. The street bends. The sky is huge. The pin in his pocket presses a small circle into his thigh, a reminder and a promise. The message that will outlive the clip tightens in his chest and then loosens, traveling out with his next breath, riding the road like a truth that knows where it is going. Respect is not a rule. It is a choice we must protect together. True authority is the quiet courage to protect dignity when rules are used to erase it. Send this to a friend who needs to hear this story.